What's up, everybody? Welcome back to HOA MMA. AJ, very exciting weekend this past weekend in the UFC. Um, we got a lot to talk about in terms of the main event, obviously with the Bullet and Grasso. Our guy Tom or our guy Kevin Holland, not his best performance. Shout out to JDM for getting it done. And then this weekend, we've got Fiziev and Gamrot, so kind of a busy weekend for us. But before we get into that, what's been going on with you personally, man?
Um, it's kind of something that we spoke about off air about a few minutes ago. Work's been dogging me hard, man. Work's been dogging me hard. But outside of that, I went out actually. I went out to probably one of the best events I've been to in a long time. So I'm a big music fan. Like anyone that knows me, I love my music just as much as I love my fights. I went to this event. It was it's called like Boiler Room. They do events all over the world, all different kinds of music, very wide range of like genres. It was the first event that had like it was kind of like it was more of a like day festival. Normally they do in like indoor places and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Great. It was like amazing. Like every single DJ like fucking like killed it. The mixes were amazing and stuff. That's something I really enjoyed. But on a sad note, on a very painful part for me, on the downside of last week, my barber's decided to go away on holiday, which means you're both
Oh,
suffering right now. You're both
whoa,
suffering right now. It's rough out here. No edge.
no, no.
Boy,
Um, yeah,
boy.
it's always rough
Hey,
when the barber goes away.
yeah.
How
So
long is the barber away?
I think he's back either tomorrow or next week, but I don't like being that guy who like harasses him
Yeah,
because he's cut my hair for like a very, very long time ever since I was a kid, basically. But literally the moment I find out that he's back, best believe I'm going straight into the chair. I'm going straight into the chair, boy, because right now I'm looking a bit like Loganish, and I'm
yeah.
not trying to look like that at all. Not at all, bro. Anyway, enough about me. What's been going on with you?
Just busy with work. Got a couple jobs going on right now. Couple, and then obviously doing a couple different podcasts, trying to stay busy. And then you always have kids doing stuff. My daughter started a tumbling class, so we've been going to that every week. And then just staying busy, man. Just life. That's all it is, really. At this point, you just living life. Um, I'm trying to think. Nothing major coming down the pike right now, which is okay. It's just trying to stay consistent. Um, I'm trying to start accumulating some like workout equipment and stuff like that around the house.
Yeah,
Kind of change the garage into a little bit of a workout area. Um, so probably in the next couple weeks, get back on a diet, get back into doing a little bit of lifting, cardio, just trying to
yeah.
shape back up before the winter because it's always harder to keep that edge on you when you're in
Cold.
winter. It's just it's just that time of year. Football kind of breeds that like eating and that kind of atmosphere.
Like,
Watching football every weekend, so it's usually a time to put on some weight. But I'm going to try to go the opposite direction this year. But other than that, not too much, man. We got some fights to get into. UFC Noche. Correct me if I'm wrong. Kind of had that pay per view vibe.
oh yeah.
It was
It,
really
it,
nice. I mean, I think it was great. Great atmosphere. Tell me what your thoughts on UFC Noche were just on the base level.
you literally just captured it very perfectly. It didn't feel like a fight night. It felt like a pay-per-view event.
Yeah.
And not just because there was a title fight on the line. It's just I guess with the build of Mexican Independence Day and you can see with the fighters, especially there was a lot of Mexican fighters on there as you would expect because it's like a celebration of it all. Just like the feel from watching it live, like it felt like a massive event and a massive occasion, and the fighters kind of like rose to it. Well, most of them anyway, and yeah, like it kind of had that really big fight feel, and especially after what happened in the main event and just all of the talking points
Mhm.
out of that. I've watched certain pay-per-view events this year, and like the aftermath hasn't been as big and thought thought provoking as it's
Yeah.
been since obviously Saturday night. To be
Yeah.
fair, because I honestly really caught the card late because I was out on Saturday and I got home very very late, but I managed
Right.
to catch most of it anyway. But and after we be watching a majority of it on Monday as well, it felt it felt big time, and there's a lot of talking points going in
Yeah.
moving forward. But and I think Dana said 1.1 million watched it on ESPN Plus. That's
That's
huge.
crazy. That's
That's
crazy.
that's huge. So I wouldn't be shocked if around this time every year we will get a UFC Noche event.
I think next step though is getting it into Mexico. It's
Oh
got to
yeah,
be
has to
like
be
I understand first year Las Vegas, but let's make this a yearly event for Mexico.
oh yeah.
Like we talked about last week with UFC Paris, UFC London,
Mhm.
UFC Noche should be in Mexico. Put it in Mexico City and let's make it a banger. Like I mean, obviously it felt like a pay-per-view, but putting it in a city like Mexico City would be massive, massive. So I think that should be the goal for next year.
For sure.
Let's start off on the undercard. You mentioned Lupi Godinez and then Roman Kopilov last week. Both of them got it done. Is there anybody else you wanted to mention? Because I felt like those two were pretty dominant and pretty good. I mean, I didn't think you had to go out on a limb to pick them as winners, but was anybody else on the undercard really impressed you?
Um, I just want to touch on Loopy first. Loopy
Yeah.
did what I thought that she would do. Like she mixed it very well, like that. You know, that little like three-piece combination when she was rocking her and literally just got the level change. Like she really put on a show and kind of showed like her all-round skill set very well. Um, a similar kind of how I felt about her moving forward is the same way I felt about Tracy Cortez as well.
Yeah.
She had a really good showing as well, and both of them in their respective weight classes, I think I ranked 14th, around that like 14th to like 12th rank. I would like to see both of them have a chance to go into the top 10 because they're showing that, they haven't really been tested yet. They haven't really been pushed yet, and they're really good, and very impressive. And Kopilov just put on an absolute clinic
That guy can
on the
flat
main,
out fucking fight, dude. That
and
guy just he's dangerous, dude.
he's mean intentions. Like he's so crisp, and like it's crazy to think in his first two fights, in the UFC, he lost, and all of a sudden something just clicked with him, and he's just been on an absolute tear. Like it's not in the fact that like he's putting people away. It's just the fact of like how he's doing them. Like it's not as if he's getting like like a little like one shot KO and just knocking him out clean. He's piecing people up
Yeah.
with like amazing technique, and I know he's obviously 32 as well, so obviously age eventually is not going to be on his side. But
Right.
whilst he's on this good streak, and with middleweight kind of needing new blood, we need to see him in the mix against the top 15 next. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a fight in like probably like December. Kind of because he didn't really take
He didn't
much
take a lot of damage. Yeah.
damage, and you know he's definitely someone that a lot of fans would enjoy watching because he's very very exciting. But he was very impressive. But apart from Loopy and him, I'll say Tracy Cortez is the one that actually caught my eye as well. She looked really good. She looked really impressive.
Also wanted to mention Kopilov stuffed 5 takedowns, which it's always impressive when you can stop a wrestler like a wrestler 5 times on takedowns. And then, like you said, Tracy Cortez just really did a great job with her strikes. She really attacked the legs well. A really, really strong performance from her over a solid fighter in JJ. So yeah, no, shout out to both of them. Tracy Cortez, obviously good fight. Loopy looks like she's on her way up her major stock going up with her.
Also,
go ahead.
Fun fact about Tracy Cortez: she's the only person to beat Aaron Blanchfield.
Which is
Which
just
kind of shows
keeps looking like a better win every time Aaron Blanchfield goes out and fights. So I mean, would she beat her? I mean, it's been what, 4 years now, but
yeah.
at
So
the same time, that's still on your resume.
Yeah, and it's aged well. He's aged incredibly
really well. Let's jump into the main card. Fernando Padilla versus Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson fought a hell of a fight, man. He fought a really, really good fight. There were times where I thought Padilla would get a win here, and Nelson just kept plugging and pulled it out. What did you think of that fight?
Kyle Nelson proved me wrong, because I thought, given it was Mexican Independence Day, I just had a feeling that we were going to see him just like a sweep, But Padilla just never got going, and that was because of Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson just literally just kept going, and he stuck to what he knew. And every single time you thought like Padilla was going to get his way into the fight, he shut that down. And that was very, very impressive. It's especially when you're the first fight on the main card, and you can tell that 90% of the crowd probably wants you to lose. To go out to go out and fight like that, huge props to him.
It's big for Kyle Nelson. That's a strong win. Padilla is a good fighter. Like you said, every time it felt like Fernando was getting a little bit of momentum, Nelson was able to shut it down, regroup, and get back and keep that point advantage. So strong win for Kyle Nelson to start this card off. Jumping ahead, Zell Huber beats Christos Gigos with the Anaconda choke.
I like him a lot. He's
Zell Huber.
He's definitely someone that a lot of people need to keep the eye on.
I mean, stuff six takedown attempts, went to the body really well. Just overall, I mean, in round 2, got the Anaconda choke. What did you think? Do you think he keeps working his way up into the top 15 after this? I mean, what are you looking for him to do next now?
As impressive as he is, he's still quite young. He's 24 years of age, I believe. So, as much as I'm all an advocate for, we need to see new blood. We need to see new blood, but at the same time, we need to kind of really make sure that these people are like ready before they make those big jumps. Considering how very young he is, I wouldn't be shocked if he kind of makes his push into the top 15 next year. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised if we get 1 or 2 more fights around this level of like opponent. But one, he's very long for the weight. He looks very, very big for the weight. It's very long as well, and that's going to cause people a lot of like problems. And that shows, when you have very long limbs, getting kind of anaconda chokes is a very useful thing to know and to have. I'm very, very impressed with him. He is definitely someone to kind of keep your eye on under the radar moving into 2024.
Yeah, that's a good point there. Probably another fight or two is fair for the top 15 for him at lightweight. So let's jump ahead.
And we're talking about a lightweight where like the top 15 in lightweight is literally just like a Shark Tank.
It's definitely, if you could build up a little bit more experience before going into those shark infested waters, it's probably better for your career. Let's jump up to everybody's favorite 18-year-old Raul Rosas Jr. Really impressive TKO over Terrence Mitchell. I mean, say what you want about Terrence Mitchell. Raul's hands looked really, really good in that short exchange.
Folded him.
Where he put him on his ass.
He folded him.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and talk to us a little bit about that, because he went. Mitchell went limp and Raul swarmed, and it was over. I mean, was there anything that you saw from Rosas Jr. that makes you feel better about after his loss and the way he's come back? Are you feeling more confident with him going forward?
From a mentality standpoint, yes, because after his last fight, people would give him a lot of shit. People saying, he's too young. It's very too soon for him to be here. He could be all hype. He kind of fights reckless. He got found out. He got exposed, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. To come out and you are the fight before the co-main, and you're in like a really big like spot. And granted, Terrence Mitchell isn't known for fighting on the feet, but to go out there and to pretty much just like smoke someone in the first round kind of really
First
shows a lot.
minute too.
Yeah, in the first minute even, and that kind of, for someone so young, that kind of says a lot about him. But so from that viewpoint, very impressed. But in terms of their like actual inside the cage, we haven't for me personally, haven't really learned more about him yet, only because the fight ended so soon,
Okay.
and it's a case of two grapplers trying to worry about the takedown. That does open up the chance for the hands to open up. And granted,
Right.
he hit him with a clean shot, like literally
Yes.
folded him. He followed him in midair, and he was out. He was out. Like the moment he landed, it was basically done. All those follow-up shots you didn't really need. Like it was pretty much over anyway. I'm going to go on the side of caution and just understand he's still 18 and he's fighting in the UFC. And not even that, he's fighting in probably the most deep division at 135 pounds.
Right.
All this talk, all this hype around him is cool and stuff, but I just kind of want to see him just carry on fighting and kind of showing over time that he's working on his game, because he's very raw. He has a lot of talent, a
Yeah.
crazy lot of talent. He is already at someone around his age. Like his use of like grappling is amazing, but I just feel like I don't want to get caught into the hype just yet, because he hasn't. Even though Terrence Mitchell is probably his best win so far,
Mhm.
arguably, you know, when he when he faced against his best ever opponent in his last fight against Rodriguez, he got found out a little bit, and that happens. So I just kind of want to see him just keep on working on his game, and then maybe within like a year or two, maybe that's when we see, okay, now we know why the UFC bought brought brought him in so
Right.
young, and he's kind of filled all of his holes out, maybe. So, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying there isn't me taking a shot. That's just me just saying,
No,
look,
it's real. It's real. It's realistic. It's not.
yeah, let's kind of just pump. Let's just pump the brakes on him being this all world, yeah. But we can see the talent's there, and he showed it on that night. But I just feel like there are a lot more questions to be asked,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah. No. I think that's a very fair way to go about that. Let's move on to the co-main event. Our guy Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena. Split decision for Jack. Right off the bat, I don't know why. I just did not love the way Kevin Holland fought the fight. I thought he never, I don't feel like he ever went out to try to win. I thought he was trying to get points to win instead of going out and stopping Jack in that manner. I just didn't love the way he went about fighting. Um, and, I'm a big Kevin Holland fan. So I felt like Jack won the fight pretty handily is not the right word, but I thought it was comfortable enough that I could say Jack won the fight. So, what did you think when you went back and watched, or when you were watching live, depending on when you got home? Um, were you impressed with the way he fought that fight? I don't know. As a Kevin Holland fan, I expected a little bit more from him. So, go ahead and tell us a little bit about how you felt watching that fight go down.
The fight was very underwhelming, because considering when you look at these guys on paper, and we said this both last week, we're expecting this to be fight of the night, barn burner. You know, we've got two guys who are great on the feet. One who's really good when he kind of gets in close, there's one who's long and knows how to use his reach well. We will quite looking forward to see how the stars were going to match up. It was a very flat fight. Jack did well considering that Kevin fought very lackadaisical. If I'm being honest, he fought very lackadaisical, especially when you look on his recent fights and like performances. He's been on a really good tear, and to kind of put that showing out was a bit baffling to me. But he had very much an off night, and considering that nothing much was coming Jack's way, I thought Jack navigated well, considering what he had to work with. And to be honest, Kevin's really hard to put away. Like on the feet, he's hard to put away on the feet. I mean, he's never been stopped on the feet. You know, he's only times they've ever been stopped is one when it was like a doctor stoppage when he has a broken hat, when he has like a broken arm, broken hand, when one of the boys just teeing off on you, and when guys take him down and obviously take his back. So you know, if Jack went out there and pieced him up on the feet and put him away, that would have been like a huge statement. So again, I just think Jack, like, it's kind of like what you said as well. Jack went out and did Jack, but I don't feel like he had the right dance partner on that night to kind of bring out the best out of him. But it was a very disappointing fight for sure. I don't have any problems with obviously Jack winning, because I just thought
it's kind of hard to. I mean, it felt like it was hard to say Kevin won, in my opinion.
Very hard,
because I mean, he threw 356 strikes, but like he only hit 120. It wasn't good. It wasn't good fighting by any means. Like, that's not a good percentage. He was missing a lot.
And there wasn't really no real damage as well either.
No, he wasn't hurt. Jack was never in trouble. There was never really, I don't know. I didn't love it. And you know how big of fans we are of Kevin Holland. I did like that he called out Neil Magny after. At least he set up another fight for himself. Jack, somebody's got to get in his ear and tell him, hey, we got to have a name ready, because you're getting into this. You're getting into that range where it's time to start kind of positioning yourself. So I think somebody's got to let him know that he's in that territory where it's time to start naming people after you win fights, so you can move up yourself.
I've got one for him.
What?
It's funny you say that. You know, like Jack didn't really call out anyone and kind of make his push. I have a name.
Who's the name?
I think he should fight Gilbert Burns.
Sure. You think Jack can beat Gilbert Burns yet?
There is only one way to find out. There's only one way to find out.
That's a good point.
Because at this point now, you know, at the top of welterweight, and everyone said this, there's a lot of inactivity, and we've had guys who've been there for like a while. It's kind of what like lightweight was as well recently. It was like the same guys fighting each other again and again. We kind of need new blood coming in, and Jack fighting one of these guys who've been around there for like a while to kind of potentially take their place does, in my opinion, make sense for the next logical step. And you know, Gilbert's been around for a very, very long time. You know, he's obviously, you know, fought for the belt. He's fought for around like top 5 guys pretty much. And to be fair, and he's also coming off a loss. I think he's at the point where he needs to defend his ranking a little bit, and against someone up and coming, and someone like Jack kind of makes sense.
Okay, I don't know if he's ready for Gilbert, but I don't mind the idea now that you've explained it out and everything. I think that makes sense in those terms. Let's get on to the main event. Grasso Bullet 2. Round 5 was not a 10-8. It was
No
At
way.
best, it was a 10-9 for Grasso,
Mm,
and even then, it's probably
mm,
pushing it. I mean,
mm,
the Bullet won the fight. I mean,
mm,
she definitely won 3 rounds to 2. If at best, I'm telling you, at best, she
mm.
won 3 rounds to 2. Um, a draw feels kind of nasty. But I don't like the Bullet, so I'm good with it. I don't. I just there's something about her. I don't. She wants to be liked really bad, and I to me that rubs me the wrong way. When you're like chasing the hug, I don't love it. So
She's one
I
of she's one of the best all-round fighters to ever step into the cage.
That's great, but she doesn't draw. She doesn't draw, and she chases the hug, and I don't like it. She her best draw is on the back of Amanda. She does not draw. Look it up. I promise you, she doesn't draw. Look it up. There's a reason.
That's
There is a
crazy.
reason.
That's crazy.
Look it up. I promise.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Go ahead. Look it up, and the numbers will back me up. She does not draw unless it was with Amanda.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's a fact. It's unfortunately it's a fact.
That's crazy.
It's a fact.
You're the only person who I know who doesn't like Valentina Shevchenko. Okay.
I promise you, more people don't like her. They respect her fighting ability, but they don't go out of their way to look at Bullet information. They don't.
Bruh.
Okay, go ahead. All right. That all aside,
Mm.
give us a breakdown of her performance, because she fought very, very well. Except when she got dropped. That was really impressive by Grasso. But the rest of that fight was very impressive for the Bullet.
The fight in itself was close. Like, that fight was close, and I feel like the scoring has overshadowed how good of a fight that is. One, Valentina fought like a champion out there. Like she kind of she fought as if she still had the belt. But Grosso, boy, Alexa Grosso is big time. Like,
Yeah.
that first fight, sorry, it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a fluke. Like she shows that she is very much Valentina's equal, if not better in some it's some cases. Like, the way that she went and caught Valentina in round 2 and dropped her was unbelievable. But it was just the way that they were both making adjustments to each other. Valentina had very early success in round 1 and even in round 2, and then Grasso makes that one little adjustment, and that's when she managed to catch her and like drops her. Valentina, responds as well. Grasso really has honed in on the fact that Valentina's back is there to be had, and she really went in on that. Yeah, it was a incredible fight by clearly the best 2 flyweights in the world. That 5th round, I kind of guess it's just me personally, right? But I don't feel like Grasso had enough time left for her to win the round for me personally. And
okay, I see why you're saying that. That makes sense. So then,
yeah, like if there was like 2 minutes, if there was like 2 minutes or like 2 or like 2.5 left, and she did all of that, then cool. I would happily give her the round. I just felt like it was a little too late, even though she was wailing on her and she was on Valentina's ass in those final minute or so. But something needs to be done about the judging, because I don't see how you can give that a 10-8.
yeah, it's not great.
Not great. I mean, to be fair, I think it was round 3 when Grasso went out and kind of just like ragdoll Valentina a little bit. That round had more grounds for a 10-8 than round 5. But
that's fair.
But I gotta be honest, they need to do it again.
You want one more time?
Like, it's not the case of I feel like you have to do it again. Like if you go out there and you get like a split draw like that, and amongst everyone, like the viewpoint is, like one person won, you should really go for it again. And I feel like you can also do Manuel Ferrero against obviously Erin Blanchfield, and that sets up your number one contender as well. So I feel like that kind of lines up where the belt is gonna go in moving forward. Yeah. I feel personally a lot of people will feel very unfulfilled if they don't do the trilogy. And also that fight will be massive now.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you on that. I mean, Dana already said that they're looking to do it the third fight anyway. So I mean, I think that's fair to do it again after that. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I thought the Bullet won the fight. I think she deserves a rematch. I think that's all pretty fair. Um, that fight's not going to be a main event though. They're gonna put that as a co-main event somewhere. Because I don't think they do a fight night for them again after that.
I wouldn't be shocked if they do UFC 300 and then have like 3 like title fights, and that's like one of them.
That would make sense. Yeah, I would do it that way for sure.
Just to go make it just like a crazy all-stat, all-star card.
Yeah, so I think we're both in agreement. The Bullet won. The judging was rough. The 10-8 was highly questionable. The fact that they went and did a judge review / informational type hearing after that to discuss what a 10-8 is even further proof that it was incorrect. So unfortunate for the Bullet. We will probably definitely see that again. Bullet Cross 03. So I'm for it. Definitely going forward. But yeah, hell of an event for UFC Noche. Like I said, let's make this a yearly event. Let's get it in Mexico City. And yeah, let's keep building up the Mexican fighting. I mean, it's a hotbed of talent. So let's keep doing that. But now, let's jump ahead, AJ. UFC Fight Night, Fiziev versus Gamrot at the Apex.
That's a shame.
It just put the dud on the whole event. I mean,
and guess what? This main event's fucking great.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be in the Apex.
Yeah. We've talked about this many times ad nauseum at this point. We're done with the Apex. This has got to stop. Is there anything on the undercard, the prelims that you noticed, caught your eye that you want to talk about before we get into the main?
Not for me personally. Unless there's anything like on for you, there isn't. Well, I know there's Usman's brother Muhammad's fighting, but he's faced against Jake Collier, who was a former middleweight, and ever since he's moved up to heavyweight, he kind of gets beat up on. That's probably the only one. But even that fight doesn't really excite me personally. There isn't anything on the.
No, I'm with you. I will watch Usman's brother just for the fact that we could see a knockout or something spectacular in that fight. Undercard. Miles Johns versus Argueta is probably going to be a good fight. That's the main event of the prelims, so that'll probably be a good fight. But let's get in the main card.
The main card, the main card's good.
It's a good solid card for sure. Kicking us off on the main card, Ricardo Ramos versus Charles Jourdain. I found myself rooting for Charles Jourdain more times than I've not. But go ahead and break this one down for us.
Well, Ramos is coming off. Well, we haven't seen him fight since last year, but he's very much up and down. But in his last fight, he had that amazing spinning elbow KO in like crazy fashion. Whenever he's fought against elite guys, so when he was fighting at 135 against Saeed Nurmagomedov, he got beat. And when he came back up to featherweight, Lerone Murphy kind of gave him like a beating, as
knocked him out, or TKO'd him,
as well. But that basically being said, when he's on, he's very good. Like he's very fun to watch. And if you know anything about Charles Jourdain, if you watch his fights, he is all action, all
Yeah.
action. He's all action, and he will literally come forward and he will go out to put on a show, as he's shown. You know, I know that he's kind of lost against higher opponents, you know, guys like Shane Burgos, I believe, and
Yeah.
Nathaniel Wood. But even in those fights were electric. Those fights are must watch to see. And in he's coming off a fight against Kron Gracie, which was just which was, to be honest, I felt kind of bad for him, because you have one guy who's just very one dimensional and doesn't really and isn't gonna let you show off what you're good at.
Yeah.
He has got on paper the right dance partner, and I just expect this fight to be all action. Like this fight right here is defo gonna go and defo gonna set the tone for
Yeah.
this main card for sure.
All right. Who you picking?
I've got Jourdain in round 2.
I've also got Jourdain. Still happy that he beat up Kron Gracie. Haven't changed my mind on that one yet. Yeah, I like Charles Jourdain. I enjoy watching him fight. Yeah, like you said, he ran into 2 really good fighters in Burgos and Wood. I mean, there's no shame in losing to those 2 guys, and 3-round decisions. Let's move on. Brian Battle versus AJ Fletcher in the Battle of America. How do you got this one shaken out?
Kind of similar to how I feel about Ramos and Jourdain. Both guys go out to put people out. This one is going to be a fun one. AJ Fletcher, I haven't seen a lot of, but I know this. I watched his last fight. He looked very good. He got a really good finish. Brian Battle literally lives up to the name. He'll go out and he'll fight you. He goes out and fights you, and he gets highlight real KOs. He's very fun to watch. I feel, and he's actually in really good form. I feel in his last 4 fights, his only loss has been against Renat, and we saw what Renat did to Kevin Lee. And Renat is definitely someone at 170 pounds you're gonna have to keep your eye on, because he's very good. Like he's definitely gonna be he is a potential dark horse. But yeah, both guys are gonna go out there and just meet in the middle and literally throw down. I have a feeling that Brian Battle is gonna carry on his decent KO win streak, and I feel he's gonna catch him in the 4th round.
I'm with you. I got Brian Battle winning. He's 4-1 in his last 5, with the loss that you spoke about a little bit. Nothing against AJ Fletcher. He's a good fighter also, but Brian Battle is just a little bit higher on my tier list here. Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson Gomez. You've been a Waterson fan for a long time. She's kind of turning into a gatekeeper. She's been a gatekeeper at this point now. Can she win this fight, in your opinion?
In my opinion, no.
Yeah.
I mean, Watson's been around for a while. She's 37, even though Marina's only 1 year younger. But Marina Rodriguez has had better wins, a lot more better wins, and like a year ago, she was seen as probably a future title contender. Obviously, Amanda Lemos literally just ended that shit and literally just shut that shit down. But Marina Rodriguez is still good, and I just feel that she'll be too much for Watson. The problem is when it comes to Michelle Watson, whenever she faces against top elite level opposition, they kind of are just a bit too big for her.
Yeah,
like
size is an issue.
Size, yeah, size right there is an issue, especially with someone who does have a grappling game like hers, even though she's known as the karate hottie. She does have that ground game we saw against Paige Van Zandt, like like a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time now.
Yeah, it's always been a long time ago. When she faced against like the top level girls at 115 pounds, she just looks a bit too small, and I just feel like Marina Rodriguez just is gonna have is just too all rounded for her.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it probably won't be close.
I'm with you there. Marina Rodriguez wins this fight. She already beat Watterson back in 2001 anyway, and I don't think anything's going to change here tonight. She is coming off losses to two really good fighters in Lemos and John Daroba. But yeah, Marina Rodriguez keeps it rolling tonight. Probably in dominant fashion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's get into the co-main event. Bryce Mitchell versus Dan Ige. Just based on what I've seen on Twitter already, it seems like everybody's kind of just penciled in Bryce Mitchell. I'm going to swerve on this. I think Dan Ige is more than capable of winning this fight. I'm going to pick a little bit of an upset here and go with Dan Ige. What do you thought? What are your thoughts on this fight going forward?
I can see why most people would obviously pick Bryce Mitchell, and it's mainly to do with how good he is on the ground. Like he is relentless grappling. He's just relentless. I feel like a few people were a little bit down on him, considering that he got ragdolled in his last fight. But he lost to Ilya. He looked like he lost to Ilya, and we know how good Ilya is, right? But before then, Bryce was undefeated, and he was coming off good wins. He kind of baby Barboza, and he dropped Barboza on the feet. And that kind of shows, even though it's a case of if you're so worried about the takedown, that opens up the hands kind of thing. But if Dan Ige is able to keep it on the feet and stuff Bryce's takedowns and keeps it on the feet enough, he's better on the feet, and he hits hard. He hits very hard for someone of his size at 145 pounds. He can defo piece Bryce Mitchell up. The problem is that I just don't think he has to take down defense to kind of, keep Bryce at bay for long enough. And I feel eventually over time, Bryce Mitchell will eventually wear on him and eventually just wear him down. Okay. And that's where I see Bryce Mitchell's key to victory. Okay. I don't see him finishing Dan Ige, because I feel Dan Ige is hard to stop. I don't think like he's ever been stopped as far as I'm aware.
Right.
At least I see this being a dominant bounce back win for Bryce. And to be fair, only really good people beat Dan Ige. And
for sure.
I
think it's a tough test for Bryce. I think this is another tough test for him. I mean, losing to Ilya is not a lot. I mean, it's not a bad loss at all in the least. I just think Dan Ige he's a tough opponent for literally anybody, and I think this is going to be a tougher fight than what I've seen people talk about on social media.
There's a reason.
You're going Bryce in dominant fashion.
There is a reason why Dan Ige's been in the top 15 for this long. There is a reason why.
No, that's a good way to say that. That's fair. Let's get into the main event of the week. Fiziev versus Gamrot. This is a really, really good fight. I mean, holy shit.
This is excellent matchmaking. This is 10 out of 10 matchmaking, like right there.
Fiziev is coming off the war with Justin Gaethje, and then Gamrot.
Jalen Turner.
He beat Jalen Turner after bouncing back. That was his bounce back after the Benny DeRouche fight. I mean, both these guys are fucking animals. So tell me how this one goes down.
I like this fight purely because of where both guys are at. Because we've kind of seen both of them have had the taste of the higher tier at 155, and both guys fell short. In between that, only one person has fought since their losses. Gamrot had a very close fight against Jalen Turner. It was a very, very close fight. I remember both of us are like saying this, and both guys are they are both a specialist in their own fields. Gamrot with the wrestling, even though he can kind of mix it all together, and Rafael Fiziev's Muay Thai striking is up there with the best within MMA period. And Fiziev also has very, very good takedown defense. Very, very good takedown defense. And both guys have also fought over 5 rounds as well.
Mm-hmm.
And their styles is going to make it very, very. It's going to make their styles for me is what make this fight so compelling. I feel like the grappling exchanges, especially within the clinch, is going to be key to this fight. It's going to be key to this fight because if Gamrot's able to is kind of able to get upper hand in those kind of areas in order for him to obviously get on the takedowns and wear on him and ground and pounds and then obviously go for like submissions and stuff. That's basically that is essentially Gamrot's key to victory. On the flip side, if every single time they clinch and Rafael's able to go for the elbows, he goes for the knees. If he's able to kind of keep Gamrot at bay and keep it on the feet and use his movement to go and set up, like a head kick or set up like certain like strikes and use his feints and stuff, and he's able to kind of pick Gamrot apart like a little bit. That's the area where I can see Fiziev easily winning as well. And both of them do have good cardio. I feel like Gamrot's cardio was probably a little bit better, but we saw against RDA, Rafael Fiziev is also able to catch a second wind, and he is able to obviously drop people late. Mm-hmm. This fight right here is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And something tells me Fiziev is going to be able to edge it out.
Interesting. Okay.
I'll be so honest with you. This is one of those fights where it's literally just like a 50-50. If you tell me Gamrot goes out there and like does his thing, I will not be shocked. Ever but I just have a feeling that Rafael is like, so Fiziev for me just has that special something just a little bit more, and I feel like he's going to pull something out.
I like the pick. Just for sake of the show, I'm going to go Gamrot. I think he does get Fiziev down, and I do think he can do a little bit more on the ground. He wants to get the takedowns, so obviously Fiziev's been training very hard for that. I do think Gamrot is good enough to get him down. I'm going to give Gamrot the win by decision. Should be a close fight. Really excited for this one this weekend. That is fight night. AJ, Dana White made some big announcements last night in terms of fights. Pantoja versus Royval 2. Colby versus Leon finally got announced. Mm-hmm. And Yuri Prohaska versus Alex Pereira finally got announced for the light heavyweight title. AJ, go ahead and rank these 3 fights in terms of what you are most excited for as a fan to watch.
Okay. How do you want me to go? Do you want to go from 1 to 3?
Go from 3 to 1. Your least least isn't not the right word, but 3 to 1.
Okay. Cool. Surprisingly, and I feel like this one I'm gonna surprise people with. Number 3, I got Leon against Colby, and I'll say this purely because I have a feeling that Leon is gonna piece Colby up. Personally,
E?
Yeah. I'm not just saying that because he's rooting for the UK guy. Um, I'll just say this now, considering the way we saw Liam fought against Usman in the second fight,
Mm-hmm.
and considering Colby's strengths and skill set, yeah, I have a feeling that Leon is gonna really tune him up in my personal opinion. Obviously, when it gets to December, we'll go through that in a bit more depth.
Right, for sure.
Uh, Second, I've got Royval versus Pantoja. One, their first fight was good, and
Yes.
Royval is one of the most fun flyweights to watch, and so is Pantoja. And Pantoja is an absolute animal. Them two are just gonna go. Them two are just gonna meet, and it's just gonna be chaotic. And I can't wait to see that fight again. Not the most fight. The fight of those three I'm most looking forward to see is a no-brainer. It's Alice against Yuri, and I don't feel like I need to say why.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you're
it's
getting a warrior versus a fucking hunter. It's like the predator versus the alien. Like it's just absurdity. Like these two fighting each other. So I no, it's not. Yeah, it's you're literally getting like two just insane alpha males fighting in front of for money. Like it's wild.
and you've got two guys whose mentality and 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 and, and fighting styles just mesh well together on paper so much. Like you are going to see the best. You are potentially going to see the best of both guys over the course of that fight, and it can look. I want to save that until
Yeah,
obviously
for sure, because it's going to be massive.
it's going to be massive, but yeah,
And
I don't really. There isn't much for me to say. Like I feel
and
like that kind of like spells it out for itself.
but think about this: we get that in the lead up to Stipe versus Jones. Like that's such an absurd night of fighting. It's gonna be epic. It's hard to even fathom.
Those that main and co-main alone, no matter how you feel about Jones against Stipe, should it be the right fight for the belt? And I get that, but on just if you just look just in terms of names and like styles, those two fights alone is worth like a pay-per-view event.
Oh, easily,
Yeah,
easily. They might upcharge us that week. They might just say fuck it and give a charge $100. Like no, that's your three are my three. I think that's very fair. Pantoja versus Royval. You just get just such a nasty individual in Pantoja, and somebody like you said in Royval who's just pure excitement. He's hard to even take your eyes off of. Colby and Leon. We're gonna obviously get into it more. Um, yeah, I mean, these fights are uber exciting championship fights, and that's what we need. I mean, um, Leon beats Colby here, and he's set. That's the level he's at right now. And then we can start getting into other challengers after we kind of get past Colby and Usman's era, and we move on to the Leon era. Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
I've got Rakhmonov.
So those three fights are absolutely epic. Cannot wait to see those. Cannot wait to talk about those fights coming up. AJ, do you got anything else for us before we get out of here?
It's not really MMA. Oh, so tonight or tomorrow, depending on where you're living, huge fight in one. Roy Tang against Super League. It's a Muay Thai world title fight. Well, I think it isn't now because I think Super League has missed weight, so I think it's a 140-pound catch weight. Yeah, I know it sucks, but yeah. So these two guys are two of the biggest Muay Thai fighters in the world, and they're finally fighting. It's gonna be absolute fireworks. It's gonna be great to watch. So definitely watch that if you're really into like Muay Thai or just combat sports in general. And funny enough, right? So okay, I'm gonna go into my little like film corner that I kind of do now here.
Okay, go ahead.
So if anyone kind of knows me, especially you, considering the amount of
Yeah.
times, apart from fights, we talk about movies probably just as much.
Right.
One of my favorite films of all time is Battle Royale. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
Japanese film directed by Fukasaku. I think I'm saying his name right. He's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite films ever. I found out through a friend of mine that he's actually known for making these Yakuza movies called Battle
Yeah.
Without Honor or Humanity. I've watched the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing. Like great. It's up there with any gangster film out in the West. It's really, really good. I would recommend, and they're so for. I think in the first original series, I think he made 5 films in like 2-3 years, which is crazy to think
Crazy.
about.
Certainly.
I've just finished film one. Great. I'll definitely recommend anyone who's into the like gangster films and wants to watch something a little bit different.
Mhm.
Definitely go and check those out.
Yeah, that's a big time recommendation. Um, yeah, Battle Royale is just yeah. No, I it's hard to even like put in words. That movie's really it's like something you need to. It's like kind of a spectacle. You need to see it. Because it's just there's just so much. Whew, like
It's
I don't even know how to describe it.
it's one of those films where you should watch. Like, there's a film that everyone should watch once, like
Yeah.
just to see it. You know.
But yeah, okay, AJ. Well, love the recommendation. Another big weekend of fights, guys. Appreciate all the views from last week. We got back up to our 90 view level, so that's where we like to be. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Keep helping us out. Keep
Yeah.
hitting us up on Twitter. We'll keep giving you guys. I send out some bets on Instagram every week. Keep finding us on Instagram. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week. AJ, till next time.
Till next time, bro.
UOA, MMA, out.